So it's now 5:30, and I'm going to call this meeting to order. Looks like we're all here, but Angela, are you doing the minutes? Thank you. Okay, so you want to call roll?
Yes. Klein.
Here.
Burton.
Here.
Parsons.
Here.
Beer.
Here.
And Brady. Here.
And it looks like we have a quorum, since everyone's present. Okay, first item is approval of the minutes of the regular meeting held July 17th, 2024. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look over those or not. Is there any discussion?
I move that we approve the minutes.
Second. Parsons.
Aye.
Beer. Aye. Klein.
Aye.
Barton.
Aye.
And Brady.
Okay. Next is the discussion and action on the financial report for July 2024. Steve sent us two attachments. One of them is the financial report, and the other one is the hotel tax report for the fourth quarter. So, is there a discussion on the financial report?
Next month, I will say, a couple reimbursements have come in the barbecue, so you'll see that on here as of August, but it had not been turned in as of July.
Okay.
And then the hotel report will probably change a little bit now that OTC is collecting.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna try to format it to where it's just easy to read to see what comes in every month.
Okay, but the numbers on the hotel, the numbers on the income, are they correct?
Yes.
Okay. So we still have several people that haven't reported their fourth quarter taxes?
No, I saw Kay. Kay was gonna bring it down to the chamber for Jan Jam, and
Was you talking about taxes?
I'm talking about
for
the income.
taxes. That's all on OTC now.
Okay,
Except for the one that we're having an issue
We
with.
have to get, there's one hotel that keeps bringing their check down here, but OTC should already be collecting, so OTC is supposed to be reaching out to them.
okay,
So,
okay,
and so far we've only received July, so that would have been for June.
for June, okay,
So, and then whenever we get August, that's for July.
okay,
So if you pay it on the 30th or the 31st,
It-
it's, with OTC,
it's
it's
gonna
like
probably be
3 or
September.
4 days.
Yeah.
before it posts.
Before it posts.
Okay.
Yeah, and they send one payment, so they have their process, so,
Okay, so we're just kind of going through a transition
yeah.
on this,
Yeah.
so,
And they sent me an email or something about, because the way that it's worded is, we're supposed to pay quarterly, but they are asking why I didn't pay monthly. So,
That's okay.
because my packet from the tourism tax that I got at the beginning is monthly.
quarterly.
It's
Or
quarterly.
quarterly,
It's quarterly.
yes.
And they wanted to know why, they're just like, your taxes are late.
No, they're not.
Can we contact them about that?
I need to look at our ordinances to make sure that's right.
Okay,
I don't think ordinances say anything about.
The ordinance
When
says
it should be on the fifth.
quarterly,
Oh, there we go.
30 days after the
I'll check it.
quarter is what the ordinance
So
says.
OTC should
We may
just,
change the ordinance then. If OTCs want us to collect them monthly, then,
I don't know if they want us to or they just didn't know.
I don't know if they know. They've got a copy of our ordinances.
Okay, because they do things monthly, quarterly, so.
yeah.
No,
okay,
they have that, so.
Okay,
okay. So, so this is gonna change next month.
Yeah.
Next time we see it, it'll be
It'll be
different.
updated with the expense, for sure, with the barbecue contest, and then I know there was already another deposit from OTC, so that will reflect in there, so.
Okay,
Hopefully if we get anything in the next week, that will be in
and
there.
then we'll attribute it to the current quarter.
Well, no, it has to be booked as when we receive it with
Okay.
cash basis, so.
Okay, got it. Okay, all right. Other questions or discussion on the financial report?
I was just curious, said we had, never mind, this is the first
Yep, first month of the
month
new
of the
fiscal year.
Never mind, on the same page now.
So,
I do have a question, and just like, Angelica and Steve, do they get the money that we're paying to do the minutes and all that? Where's that money going?
So I'm part of the chamber board, so I'm doing it on behalf of the chamber.
But you're not getting the money that we pay
It
to
goes
have
to
it
the
done?
Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
Like
So
I'm
it's-
volunteering my time as a
Okay.
chamber board member to do that.
And so I think we're gonna talk about that when they get
Okay.
here, so, because that's something that Megan and Jody have brought up to me.
Okay.
So, anyway, okay, but as far as the financial report goes, anything else?
Nope. No finance, that's it.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the July financial statements.
I'll second.
Klein.
Aye.
Barton.
Aye.
Beer.
Aye.
Parsons.
Aye.
Okay. Next thing, quarterly chamber report. So, anyway, you guys are on. Thank you for coming tonight.
I don't know. I don't know how you want us to report this. This has been submitted in the packet, so you kind of see where we are and how that's been invoiced over the last year. Then, when you flip it over, I guess if you have hard copies, shows we have a little bit left over from the previous fiscal year that was all approved. And that was part of the salary that went to Caitlin and Jody that was not used because of their departure. So part of our discussion today is to see if we can shift that, since it's from last year, into promoting the Christmas event. And I don't know what else you really want to know or ask about from this report. You're open.
Yes, 67,70,42, and that was October. That was for the salaries. So that they haven't spent yet. So we paid it to them, but they haven't spent it yet. So,
And some of that's not all salary.
oh, it's not,
500 was not used on brochures.
okay.
Yep, that's in there.
There's still a little bit
Oh, I see that, yeah.
hanging out there for Oklahoma Today, 780 in that difference column, in the green column. I see that.
Okay.
The majority is their salary.
The majority is their salaries. Okay, thank you, Tricia, for clarifying that.
There is a little bit more.
So, let's see if we have any questions on this report,
Okay.
and then we'll talk about what you want to do with it.
Okay.
And you can present that. Does that sound good? Okay. So, are there questions on her report that she has for us, aside from the 6770?
I have the question that I asked before, because this is different than the salaries, the money to staff the tourism center, and the clerical support for tourism tax, correct? That is different than the salaries that you were talking about being left over.
It's all on this one report.
Yes,
All three of those components are on here.
but who is getting that money that we pay, the $22.50?
So, like for instance, on page 2, it says executive director salary, at
Yes.
the very top. So 15,000 was actually paid to Jody while
Yes,
she was there through April. It was budgeted for 18,000, so we had 3,000 left over because she
Okay.
quit in April. So that's part of that 6,000 at the bottom.
So
So that
nobody's gotten
3,000.
it
So
right
nobody
now.
has received
I'm
it.
asking on page 1.
So you're asking about specifically the tourism clerical support.
The clerical support, the visitor center staffing, and the marketing support, which, I don't.
So as far as the clerical support, Megan and I are teaming that. She's handling the applications and the agendas and putting those things together. And then I'm taking the minutes as a volunteer to the chamber board. And then the staffing, I'll let you guys talk about that.
As for the staffing, I've been in the office. I'm in there Monday, Wednesday, Friday currently, and working on volunteer support to come in within, just working on.
Getting the schedule. We've got keys
Getting
made
the
for them,
schedule.
and we have the list of people and the willingness to do it. We just got to schedule that out so that on her hours, she can also be in places talking to different members, so we want somebody to balance that out in the office for her, so she can hop out to go do that. We think that's a really important piece of the chamber, is that one-on-one.
It's communication.
Yeah, so, anyway,
And just a date, particular that I want to point out is that they were hired July 1.
Yeah.
This report goes through June 30th, so you're not going to see any of their salary on any of.
because we haven't gotten paid for any of that.
When was Jody's last day? And,
April 9th.
okay,
She was paid from April 30th.
okay.
Yeah.
So May, June
Is what,
Right.
is what, where is that money?
That's part of the
That's at
excess.
6770.
Yes,
It's left over. It's in our banking.
It's,
but the money for the tax minutes that you said you're doing voluntarily,
Right.
are we paying you? I mean, I don't care if we pay you.
No,
I
I'm
just-
not being paid, but as, I mean,
No, none of us have gotten paid for the tourism money that was there for that reason, because we weren't doing it. So now that we're moving forward into this next month, I'm handling the building of this and making it all digital and making all the applications digital so people can fill them out online and submit them, try to streamline that and take it down into something that's more manageable. And then move you guys towards the digital era of having a board portal, which is excellent, and we don't have to print as much paper. So the pre-meeting stuff is going to be done by me. And then during the minutes here, because when you look at the minutes, there's not a lot to them, but me having one extra night at a meeting is a little rough. So Angelica volunteered to cover that part for us.
Okay. But I
And
still
then
have-
I am in the office to
Yep.
receive within the office as of,
you're in the visitor center.
I'm in the visitor center.
Okay.
Yes.
So are you, I think she's probably like, so now with that salary, like we gave you,
9 and
This money
9.
was
it's
designated
15,000 for
for
a salary
that.
and 8,000 whatever for, so it's 15,000 for a salary or 18,000. Now going forward, since we've already entered the new year with the money, how's that being divided up? Who's getting it? How are they getting it?
And where is it when
and
the
where-
visitor center was closed? The money that we
Okay,
paid
that's
to
that
have it open.
excess. For the visitor center being closed, well, yeah, is in that excess. So, and you can jump in on any of this. But, so that salary total excess is 3,000 over. That's a combined for both salaries that were taking place. So they used 15,000 of it during their term until April ended, and they were both gone. So then there's 3,000 left over that would have probably been both their salaries for May and June.
Well, it was just Jody's, so that's just the
Okay.
ED, that's just the executive director. Right below that, the tourism staff salary, that was Caitlin's.
Oh,
So
okay.
this
Hers
is
a
the
2,000.
same,
Yeah.
this 3,000 and 2,055 is the same as what's on page 40. I mean, on page 40, on page 1. I was looking at 4,000 income, and on page 1, that is what this money, this actual right here, that's what that went to. This is what that is.
that's what we paid.
Yeah, so the 9 and 9, two different things for the salary for the clerical and then the visitor center, 9 and 9.
Yes.
So flip that over and you've got that 18, and of the salary for the clerical, 3,000 was left. Of the salary for the visitor center, tourism staff salary, there was 2,000 left. So go down
Okay,
one
so
line.
it is the same, that is on that, okay.
Does that make sense? I think.
yes, so it is the same.
Yeah, it is the same.
I see what you're asking now.
Yeah, I do see what
Because
you're
you say
saying.
actual budget and then difference, there's no difference on this first page.
Because that's the actual amount we paid.
So, because we did pay it, because it was allotted,
Yes,
but
and it
the
was
visitor
already-
center was closed. And then
So
I
it's
know it's
just
open
cool.
sometimes now,
Yeah, so it was just pooled there, and that's why we have that excess.
but that's what the 3,000 and the 2,055.
And
Yeah.
starting in May, the visitor center was open Monday, Wednesday, Friday, starting in May as we could. But it was, I
You were
was
volunteering.
volunteering my
There was
time,
no
is what I
payment.
was doing starting in May. When she left, April 18th, I think is what it was. So it was maybe closed.
So we were hustling from the time they left until the board decided to hire us for 2.5 months, not getting paid. Rocking and rolling, if I do say so myself. So we were very hesitant too, when we got hired, like, hey, we don't want to get paid by tourism because we're not doing that, you know.
They were very like.
We're pretty adamant about like, hey, we don't want to take that money because I totally understand your concerns. And then Steve said, no, we want you to do the tourism part. And so we're trying to evaluate, okay, our focus was chamber, and we're gonna promote tourism, of course, but this particular clerical part was like, oh man, I don't know if we can cover that, we don't wanna overpromise. So when we brought that to the board 2 weeks ago, Angelica said, hey, I'm already there, I don't mind doing the minutes. And I sit down with Steve and spend about an hour with him learning this system and thinking, okay, we can do that. We can provide better, hopefully, service through the digital side, so you don't have so much paper. You can get it a little bit earlier and see all of the pieces, and then she would cover just the minute side and report to me so I can get this up to the city.
Okay, we have like time cards and everything on hours worked or anything. I mean, I know you guys put in a ton of time,
Yeah.
but, you know,
We don't, but that part,
the
well,
money was designated for these, you know, for it to be open Monday through Friday and
correct. So a majority of that salary, well, I don't know if I can say majority, the chamber's paying how much of that salary is coming from tourism chamber? You know what I mean?
this is all from tourism.
I know you're pretty, yeah, I
The
know.
chamber also
The chamber-
provides money
yeah.
towards their salaries.
Correct, yes.
Right,
Yes,
so,
that's not all they make.
yeah.
Right.
So our hours on that are on the chamber board side of the discussion. And then for the visitor center portion that she would conduct, the Monday, Wednesday, Friday is the 12 hours, I think that it says in the MOU, or that we would keep it open, is that right? So we're trying to keep up that end of the bargain. Now, on the clerical side, I haven't done a whole month yet because I just gathered up the information. So on the hours that will take, I do not know that yet.
How many hours is an MOU for the visitor center?
We talked about
The
that.
use of
Monday-
funds, I don't have it with me.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
But it says exactly what each section is. There's 3 sections. The tourism marketing support, which is mainly in and out, going back to Oklahoma today,
Right.
and carpet country, and the communication specialist salary.
Okay.
That's the 25-ish thousand.
Yeah.
Then you got the 9 and the 9. And I think what you're asking maybe is how many hours?
I just want to know where this money's going, because it's not staffed as much as it was.
Right now, I mean, just to tell you
But
that
I
it's
don't-
sitting in the bank account, $6,770.
Moving
It's
forward.
sitting in, it
Hasn't-
hasn't been
hasn't
sitting
gone
in
in
yet.
You're talking about moving forward, you wanna make sure that the visitor centers is staffed.
It's either staffed or we're not paying to staff it to the chamber.
So when we looked at the MOU and looked at the wording, you gotta pull up. For the visitors staffing, there's a section.
Chamber employs dedicated tourism marketing staff at 15 to 20 hours per week, depending on organizational needs, planned events and activities in the community. I got the MOU open, I'm
Thank you.
sorry.
Thank you.
That's what it was.
And while the hours posted are tended to Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it actually is, I'm there a lot more than that. That's what's posted, but I'm there a lot more than that. I typically stay later than that.
And I'm there
And then
on the
Trish,
day she's not for a couple hours. So I don't keep track of my hours, but
But moving forward also, this was voted on and approved on in April at that meeting. So moving forward, we're gonna try to keep really good track of finding our balance in that and using that money as wisely as possible. So the chamber can fund, or is going to fund on our paychecks, and it's not a lot of money to begin with. So the chamber's paying a pretty good portion of that too. So only the part, we're trying to be as fair as possible on the amount of time we dedicate to preparing the packet and the amount of time in the office, because MOU did not fund 40 hours a week in the office. That 9,000 does not fund that when you do it at an hourly rate. So when you break that down to 9,000, what's that hourly rate? When we did the math, it was about 12 hours a week that tourism was funding for that. If that makes sense.
So 10 to 15, that's what it said, right, Scott?
That's tourism marketing staff. The visitor center staffing and facilities report or support is Monday through Friday, 9 to 4.
so if you
That's what I
calculate
thought.
that Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on what we're being paid, that would be $5 an hour.
Okay, but that is to be included because it's also your office for the chamber, correct? And we were just helping, that money was supposed to just help
What were you?
pay.
Yeah.
only the 9.
Right, it
only
doesn't pay the
9,000.
whole amount, right.
It's not supposed to pay the whole.
That, right, that 9,000 didn't for the whole
Right,
specific.
it's-
And we actually, I'm doing a lot more outside, because I'm working at home as well, late working, and I am and this was something that we were going to talk about, is like website and updating the website and doing those sort of things, making sure that we are putting those things out. I've contacted Travel OK, so that we can get our stuff out there through the state, not just here locally, because that's what we want. We want people coming from the outside to come in. That's what we really want. And so we attended Red Carpet Country Conference yesterday. I talked to Galen Culver and to Oklahoma Agritourism, which we're a member of, through Ross Menagerie. And so I chatted with both of them to get, hey, we want to get our stuff out there. We want people to see us. What do we need to do more? I want to be able to, talking to Galen Culver, I was like, hey, you've been here a lot. You've been in Alva a lot. How do I get access to all of the links so that I can link all of those things to our website so that then people can come in? I also contacted like the dining guide through Travel OK. I just recently, last week, just talking to Travel OK, was like, hey, you've got a dining guide. I just looked through it and there's nothing on here from Alva except for a big cinnamon roll from Vanilla Bean. We have some really great restaurants here. How do we get in on that? And she's like, hey, we're not going to publish that this year, but next year we are, and it's going to be a digital version. We will make sure and reach out to you. So I'm on their radar so that they know to, hey, we need to contact them for those things so that we can get them into 818, so that we can get them in to the hotels here. So we've been doing, while the visitor center, we have been in there. We've seen lots of visitors coming through, like the Trans-America Trail. This is another place that we're looking at doing things through the Trans-America Trail, getting people knowing, hey, there's some stops right here. You can stay right here in Alva, that this is a great spot for you to stay at, because there are 3 different trails that they can take. One of them comes straight through Alva. And so we've now gotten onto the Trans-America Trail Facebook pages so that we can put that stuff out there as well. So even if like we are working tourism, I'm working tourism outside of being in the visitor center, because being in the visitor center, I communicate with a lot of people is what it is. It's coming in to the office and you get sidetracked and you don't get to do all the website stuff right there in the office, but I get to communicate with people in the office and then go home and working on those other things, updating those links that need to be done, updating our graphics, too. Like we've been updating graphics and that sort of thing. We want to boost Alva.
Well, and that's
we love Alva, and that's the reason we're here.
And personally, I identified that the $9,000 for this part seems like a lot, seems excessive, and I'm saying that from my heart because I do agree with that. However, since it's been approved in April, what we'd really like to do is focus on how much more we can do. Instead of saying you're paying $9,000 for us to do the books, what's that money doing to help promote Alva? And so, like she said, more looking at those printed documents, more looking at advertising outside of there, more getting people to town for events, that sort of thing. That's already, instead of coming to you for an event and saying, hey, can you give us money for more? We don't want to do that at all. We want to utilize the funding that has already been approved in a way that is more efficient and gets more bang for your buck for you guys.
And we had no idea what was going to happen. When we came in here in April, we had no idea what was going to be happening for the future. We had no intention. I mean, quite honestly, we had zero intention of taking on this job. That was not the intention at all. But when we stepped into it, we were like, whoa, okay. So we're seeing some momentum here, and we're seeing people like with positive coming at us positively. And what else can we do? Because I know that it is. I don't know.
I think you guys are doing a great job. Yeah. That is not what I'm getting at all. It's just this money has been allocated for something else.
Yeah.
So I think that's why we have that memorandum of understanding that was so important that we, so I think that we just need to be very careful on where that money goes and how it's spent. We have to be good stewards of that money.
So in the last several months, we have how many new members do we have since we started? Which is going to increase our chamber budget, right? So that funding can help with promotional stuff too.
I think that we have
and help with salaries and shift some of that to where maybe less on salaries, more chamber funded on the salary side of things, more tourism on the money that you got, you know what I mean? So I think that we are going in the right direction for getting those members in and seeing the value of the membership.
Yeah, so that it won't be something, like, that's my hope.
Yeah,
Like,
I wouldn't.
the administrative part of it won't be something.
Yeah,
That's
but
great,
it would be
yeah.
something about more of like, and I know with the MOU, you know, it says that certain things will be done, but our hope is that the salary won't be.
That
Yeah,
is, when we
because
walked in, we
want
said
to
we didn't
boost
want
Alva, like wherever, I don't know. I don't know, I don't know what, I don't know.
And
the
we
right
were walking
thing to
into
say or
an
anything.
MOU that now we've
Yeah.
got new people in here, new ideas, and we're stuck to that MOU. But we would like permission to move that around in a way that best suits Alva. And we don't mind giving you a report of here's what we want to do, what do you think, and then you're, beforehand. But that open communication is what we want.
So,
Because there's some things, I'll say this, and I forgot to bring the Oklahoma Today. I know, I just got the new ad for, or the new issue for Oklahoma Today. Truly, I don't think that that's worth it.
It's a little bitty.
It's a tiny little ad, and I don't think, and that's been
Did
requested.
they increase the
But
cost this last year too?
probably,
Yeah, and that's why I agree.
and within that, you do think it's worth it.
Any magazines, I think any magazines are pretty much irrelevant.
Oh, irrelevant, yeah. So like, just
That's
within,
just me.
no,
No.
like that's what, so I get passionate about this. Okay, so, so within that, that's what we were looking at. We were looking at, okay, so what are we spending money on that really is not like the best bang for our buck? And so we started looking at that. We looked at the Travel OK Guide. So with Travel OK Guide, that's something that's given out everywhere, and it's a full page ad. And that is actually really awesome. And I meant to grab those. I'm so upset that I didn't. But it shows, and in the back of the Travel OK Guide, it has Alva, and it tells you what pages to go to.
Yeah.
And so then I thumbed through to see, where's our ad? And I bookmarked that ad so that we could see it. That is distributed every year, and those are free copies. Those are put out into all the hotels, right? But with Oklahoma Today, that's something that we pay for. It's a 6-page ad.
1/6.
1/6 page. It is a tiny little ad
Subscribe.
and you have to subscribe to the magazine. Now, how many of you now subscribe to magazines? Do you have any subscriptions to magazines? See, neither do I. I used to.
take tons.
I know, I used to take tons of them. I used to, but I don't anymore. And so we feel like, and we've already asked for that money to be allocated to there, but we weren't in this position to see, like, what is it? Where do
weren't
we
diving deep
really,
enough
yeah, we weren't
on the Chamber
diving
Board side.
deep. Yes, absolutely. We weren't diving deep enough on the Chamber Board side. But now that we're actually in there and in the office, we can see, hey, where have we maybe not done the best? What can we adjust? Where do we need to be moving? Because that right there, that's money that we don't think is well spent in that. So we agree with you in that. And so we really want to be like, okay, so what can we do? What can we do instead?
And that's what leads into letting go of the $2,300 ad that's 1/6 of a page. Get rid of that. Maybe we pay $2,500 or something close to that for the website that is visitalvaok.org, which I know has a huge history and has some strife in it from the past because we got it, we needed it, we lost it, we wanted it back. But it's confusing to people to have two websites. It's more to keep up with, and it's a different type of website that we have to call in and get a ticket for any changes we want to make to it. So we can't make it flow like it needs to flow. However, if we can add a tourism page or multiple pages to the Alva Chamber website and build upon that and put the application there and draw people there, and we feel like that's more bang for your buck, is letting go of that money and putting that time towards the current.
Yeah,
website.
that we're paying toward the back 40, instead combining that into one website. And maybe what we do is we go ahead and keep visitalvaok.org, I believe is what it is, right? And then we also still have alvaok.net. We keep both of those to where if a person has had that in the past, it will still just redirect them right there to the website. And then we have all of that right there, and then there's not confusion of two different Alva websites coming up. And that would highlight not only our chamber members, but also the other members in the town and the touristy things that are
The other
going
thing
on.
that tourism is not paying for, that the chamber is handling and covering, is the billboards up by McClure's. So that's about a $6,000 a year deal that we have bargained with Buckland for them to be a member, but we're dedicating once a month, probably 2 ads every minute that go to tourism. So this month it's we've got a car show up there. So every month we're going to try to add another tourism to that. But that's not funded by you guys. It's funded by the chamber side. So there's a little give and take as far as the salary discussion, and the money is that we're still trying to do tourism with our own money too.
Right. And we have plans. We've talked to people outside of Alva as well, because we have such a wealth. We have such a wealth right here in our area with the state parks. We've got Alabaster Caverns, we've got Little Sahara, we've got the Salt Plains. And in chatting with all of them, like...
We have talked to them, talking
Yeah.
about a Northwest Food Fest that would cover all of the locations, maybe have a travel or a weekend for families to hit each one, have it planned out for one ticket, that sort of thing. So
And
are
Alva being the centralized place, naturally, they would stay here.
Yeah.
You know? There's not the hotels in Freedom. There's not the hotels in Cherokee.
Okay, we've worn them out.
Yeah, sorry. We'll stop. We've got lots of
You know
thoughts and
what's
ideas, and we know that not everything has lived
She's
up to
even
what
a
it
word
has.
for the camera.
I just wanted to know everybody was.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry, Terry. We don't know. No, we do know.
But we are
do
trying
know,
to-
but we're working to adjust.
Okay, so do you guys have any questions about that part of the presentation? Okay, so Megan, now, I think you have an idea about the 6770. So why don't you tell us about that?
Okay, so
Okay.
Christmas 2024 is going to be the best thing ever, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got, this is all turning around, lots of momentum behind it. We've had 2 meetings out at VOTEC. We have over 25 people that have shown up, which is pretty big for just an all call to come to a meeting. So we've got sponsors for almost all of it already. So that 67 will go towards really promoting it hard. Chamber's got it budgeted for that too, to hit like the double truck and at Christmas. But anyway, so back to it. We've got a whole town soup feed that the Little Red Hens are going to put on, and the Minnesota Alliance are going to sponsor. We've got face painting for the kids. We've got character meet and greets for Elsa, Anna, Olaf, Santa, and Santa and Mrs. Claus and the Grinch will be going around. Friday night, Santa and the Grinch will be giving out gently used children's books that are wrapped for every child that goes through, along with cookies and cocoa. There'll be late night shopping. The City of Alva and the Woods County Commissioners have agreed to put up a giant tree for us. If we can find a tree, they'll help us get it up. And then we'll get it lit. Going to sell some sponsorships for in memory of, to try to generate some more fundraising and lighting displays for this year. We've got a team that's going to work on plywood cutouts of Christmas scenes that we can put up around town. We've got a caricature drawer or artist that's going to be downtown for free for folks to do family portraits. Valerie and Angela Case are going to do a Christmas kids shopping place over at Runningmead where kids can go in and shop little things for their family members, and they'll do a family family professional photo for each one, and Holder Drugs is going to fund that one photo and then let them walk over and print a photo for their sponsorship. Alva State Bank is looking at a pretty good size sponsorship. Got to talk to the other banks. We've got the face painting sponsored, working on maybe some fireworks. So big plan. So on that 6,700, we want to just go big, and we want to bring Christmas home for the holidays so people will shop at home, homegrown, homemade, hometown. There's my spiel.
And we would like to use the remaining funds
Yeah.
to help fund that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So, that's not on our agenda.
It wasn't. He mentioned it. I got, on my reply, everybody, I got 2 responses, which said, no, I don't think it needs to be on the agenda. Then I asked Drew, and he said, well, since that's already been approved and it's not new money, he didn't think that it needed a secondary vote.
So you need our blessing.
You just
Just
looking for
for our heart,
consensus?
you guys to feel okay about that. Or we can cut you a check for it back if they'd rather have that.
I don't know, what's the flavor of everyone?
I mean, I thought of having a nice Christmas thing, because I know that's been in the town, talking and bringing your children and having the nice displays, and I know there's several already going down to the bullpen to start trying to see what's working and whatnot, and get Alva lit up and on the square. And I like the idea, and if that's what that fund can help, I think it's well
Is the
invested.
bullpen where they keep all the old Christmas?
Yes, and they're
displays?
gonna go,
Most of them.
most of them, they're
Most of
gonna go try to see what we can fix and what needs to replace. And like to make it workable and operational, or if we need to buy new.
What do you think?
I've always missed that.
I miss it too.
That was one of my favorite things as a kid, was to go down there. And actually, I helped light some of the bags back in the day when they did all of those
Yeah.
around the square.
Yeah.
And it was always a neat time. And that kind of went away, and that kind of, so, I don't know, just didn't sit well.
Yeah.
I don't know why we quit.
I mean, they still had it when my kids were little, and I mean, there were several years we came down and rode on the little wagon, and you know, the kids got to watch them flip the lights,
And as of now, it is a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. Tour of the Homes is wanting, or the museum is wanting to do Tour of the Homes on Sunday, followed by a concert at Presbyterian Church by the 4-keyboard thing, which is going to be super cool. So what I'm also curious about is, can we request an occupancy report from each of the hotels on events, or like a month's report? You know what I mean? Because I know from the bank side, hotels can give that, but I'm wondering if we could look at the last year and say, okay, what weekends were you busy? Which ones were busiest? And work on looking at that number, and then after an event, go back and say, hey, you had this many rooms full. They have that report. I was going to stop by. We were going to stop by each one and just ask if that's something that their bookkeepers could provide.
You give detail down to that. I mean, that's why ours says hotel 1 through 15,
Yeah.
because we don't have
It
that.
won't- you
Yes.
can't.
Supposed to be
Yeah,
private.
we're
not.
Well, it won't give names. It gives how many rooms were full that weekend.
so like
Or that
hotel number
year.
1 had, you know,
Yeah.
70% occupancy or whatever.
Yeah, or we
On
can
the
go to
car
each
show.
hotel and ask them just politely, hey, would you mind, so we can work on figuring out
I mean, I would
what weekends are
not mind
big?
giving that information, but,
It would be a good, you know, feedback. Okay, yeah, you really were full.
Yeah.
I would say if they give you it,
Great, and if not, don't push them, and then just keep the data, like hotel 1, 2, 3,
Private,
4,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, if we approach it as, hey, we want to be member, obviously, because right now we have one hotel who is a member, so obviously we're going to promote them more, stay there. But if we can use that in our pocket to say, hey, we really want to promote you in any event we have, we want to be able to list you on all of it from the chamber side. Tourism side, we have to,
Right.
chamber side. That's something we're looking into, getting that report.
So I think that's a really good idea. So,
back to this, I think it's a beautiful idea, and I think it needs to be done, but I don't think it's tourism
You don't?
funded, no.
Wow,
I
I
know.
disagree. Here's why. Commencement is that Sunday. And when we did the salsa stroll from the chamber side on commencement in May, all of the merchants said, we had people that bought tickets that were here from commencement the day after.
That
And
are
they
already
need,
here.
well, but they needed something to do. And so it promoted sales tax back into us. It's supporting our local. So I think it is huge. Plus, what we're going to promote is bring your families home for the holidays. Bring them here that weekend because we got something for you to do. Now, not every home can have their people stay at their houses, so you've got people staying in the hotels. So I 100% think that it is a tourism. Because those families that have moved away, they got to pick a weekend to do Christmas at mom and dad's, and so we're going to promote do it this weekend. I don't know, that would be my argument.
So Terry, do you feel like that the chamber should cut a check back to the tourism committee for that? Or use it,
I do,
okay,
because it was, you know, the money that we get for tourism tax is supposed to be designated to fill the hotels. And you may think it will fill the hotels, but the hotels are already going to be full with commencement, so it's not like it's really bringing anybody in,
Oh, boy. I know
because they're already here.
not all of them. Not if we have Christmas. Like, yeah, you've got a college crowd. I don't know how many that'll be. I could look at last year's if they'll give me a report. No, I think that it's definitely would bring in some families that are outside of here back.
so I'm just going to ask this. Would you prefer that they gave it back and then they come to us with another proposal for this specific event.
That would be better.
I mean, to kind of make it clean.
I don't think it's anybody's money to do that with, because, I mean, I
So-
think it's no different than the 4th of July, you know, and
Yeah.
the fireworks. I think it's the same thing. It's more for the town. And I think it's a beautiful idea.
Yeah.
And as a business, I would love to help out to do something like that. But I don't think it's what the tourism money is for.
So your,
But, I
Yes.
mean, I'm one person, so.
your feeling would just be to keep it cleaner, that they write a check back to the city, or we credit them and the next time, can we, I mean, I don't know how that, I don't know what the accounting,
This is
Yeah.
fun, this is fund balance.
Yeah, it's in there, I mean, I guess
Yeah, I don't think we
could,
need a check back, but yeah,
Yeah.
it just needs to go towards where we
Towards-
don't write the check the
Yeah.
next time.
yeah, so,
Or it's smaller, or.
so that it all evens out and, you know, balances. And then at our next meeting, they would come to us with a proposal. Does that work for you guys?
Well, if we come to a proposal, I'm coming for 15,000.
So that's why in my head, it wouldn't be an additional add-on, it would be, whatever was left there, try to use it wisely, but it's up to you guys.
I don't know, I just.
What does the auditor like better say?
well, it's already in fund balance, so, I mean, they can write it, but then we're still gonna have to get it out. We still have to do an entry to move it from fund balance to get it into be used in this fiscal year. So it can sit there until
Well,
we,
it's not in fund balance yet.
well, once we.
It's just sitting in their bank
It's
account.
in their
If
bank
they write us a
account.
That's
check,
true.
then it goes to
On
fund
our
balance.
system, yeah, that's true.
In our system, it's gone.
So they're gonna, if they write us a check, then we're gonna deposit it then,
Into our fund?
yeah, I keep forgetting they have their own check, I'm thinking of like our others. Yeah. So, I mean, they can write us a check and we'll just deposit it back into this fund, tourism fund. So, and then it'll just sit there until we decide to either release it for whatever we see fit for tourism. Or we allocate it somewhere else in our budget.
Okay.
Or if you want it to go towards some other big advertising that you do deem as worthy of tourism, we can do that. Instead of the mess. If you say, hey, I really want to see us advertised. Okay, so the billboard on I-35 is $800 a month. So 8 times 12, $8,400. So we could get almost there with that money. Well, never mind.
Bad guy.
I mean, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I totally
I
see
see
what you're
both
saying.
sides
I think
of
it's
it.
a beautiful thing, and like I said, my kids went to that stuff, and I think it's a great thing for the community, and for the families that come back and visit their families too. But commencement weekend is already, it's gonna be full. It's going to be full already. It's not bringing new tourists into town. It's already full.
It's a per event type deal, and I get it. And that's, like she said, 4th of July was a key reason. I mean, we asked for years and years and years, we got it, but just think about it, we're not bringing anybody to stay overnight in a hotel for our event, and it's a per event deal. So, I mean, if you could say that you're gonna bring in a whole bunch of
I'm
families.
gonna prove it. I'm gonna get that occupancy
Hey,
report.
So I see, and I see that too, but I also think about, Enid brought in a tree and brought in all these people,
Yeah, there were tons of people going over there to take pictures in front of that giant tree.
and they stay the night.
Yeah.
And so why can't we create that
I
again?
mean, I know people from Alva that stayed the night over there
Yeah.
when they went to take their picture.
Well, they have an
So-
amazing event over there.
I
We
mean-
went,
And it's
but
not
we didn't
saying
stay
that
the
you
night.
couldn't
But
create
it was
that
amazing.
event,
Yeah,
but it would
I mean, I
have
know
to
someone
be
that I work with,
through
and she was like,
the
yeah, we went over there,
application
so yeah, our kids
process,
went to
not
Oh,
the hotel and
reality
swam, and,
declarable.
you know, that was,
for an event.
Fantastic. They had a big
And
Christmas
it's-
parade. We went
It's,
to it.
it's
It was
just how the
amazing.
money looks and where it was dedicated towards, and I get it. That was earmarked specifically for
Okay,
this deal. It may come back and wash right back into an event that you applied for. And if that's how it works and that's how it works out, then everything is in room. And it looks better on paper, it looks better in the books.
Okay, so on that note, what are your thoughts then on the website if we get rid of that $2,500 a year? You know what I mean?
from just a perspective of, we're keeping those domain names, and they're gonna drive someone right into your page for tourism, I sort of think that makes a lot of sense. That, you know, when
Well,
I,
have that access,
if I'm
so-
looking for something when I'm going somewhere, I'll Google Oklahoma City Chamber or whatever, you know, Norman Chamber, Woodward Chamber. And so if I wasn't familiar with Visit Alva, I might not put that in to my Google search. You know what I'm saying? But I
Just
might say
put Alva.
Alva Chamber. And so if the tourism page goes there, but if someone has Visit Alva that they've been following on Facebook or whatever, and if that's just driving all those people into that same page, to me that does make a lot of sense.
So, but we're gonna end up in the same problem with a little bit of excess that was not used for purposes intended.
Right.
So I'm wondering if we need to look at that MOU again and redraft one
Yeah, I wonder.
and bring it back, you know, to where we are more aligned. And that's what's hard about these meetings. You can't have just round tables. You've got to have a fancy meeting. But that's something, if you guys want to, or you can shoot me an email individually of what you would like to see.
Well, I mean, I think your board kind of came up with that MOU.
That was
Yeah, I mean, I think that came from the
So-
chamber.
from our strategic.
So it kind of needs to come from you. But, you know, if someone on this board has, you know, a suggestion, I think, you know, it's appropriate that they can say, hey, I think this would be a good idea. So, you know, I mean, I guess, I don't know, what do you guys think about having them look at the MOU and see if they want to make changes?
I mean, they could, as a board, go through and see if, now that they have different directors and, you know, it has lapsed, they can create something and then get on the agenda to come back to us and be like, look, this is what we're trying to look, and then we can either vote to keep the existing or vote to update it with the new directors and their new path. You know, I think they could do something like that, and then,
Do you think that's okay, Steve? So, I mean, do you guys feel okay, comfortable with that?
I mean, I would love to see
I mean,
what
I
they
think
come
it's
up with.
necessary.
I would like to see them look at it and go, you know what, we think this is good and this is not, and this is
Yeah.
good and this is not.
There's
But
new
this
eyes
other
on
thing
it
is
now,
really good that we
so-
could add. I mean, I would like to see them do that.
Would you be willing to send some emails on your suggestions? To
Or what
see
worked in the
was-
past. Hey, I liked that they did this.
Yeah.
I do like that you guys are trying to be, what can you get for the more for your money, you know, better bang for your buck.
I mean,
And I do like that, but make it also improvement.
I mean, I think that's good for every single person that is affected by this money and every single dollar. I mean, I think we should spend it as best we can. And so that's,
Yeah,
you know,
I think
I
we
mean,
should
we-
maybe
we
consider
could-
hiring somebody to staff the tourism center 5 days a week, you know, to where that could free you up to do whatever. That
Yeah.
money's there, so we could maybe put a feeler out as a tourism staff member.
right. And they're
And
there to
then- and you
answer the
can
phone
answer the
and
phone and then you
pass
can-
out the materials
Yes.
and email people and, I mean,
I think it's something that we could definitely take a look at anyway.
so.
We will, we'll do some powwowing.
Because, I mean, the chamber came up with that MOU and brought it to us as a
Yeah.
proposal. And that
We were
was,
guided fairly hard on that.
that was 3 or 4 years
Yes.
ago when it, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago when it started, the first time that they did it. And so, you know, I think, I mean, it's been good, but how can we do better?
And things change.
And
you
they
know.
do change, yes.
Just
And
like
if you would've told
magazines
me-
used to be the big thing, now it's all
Yeah.
digital. you
20
know.
years ago, Oklahoma Today was probably a great thing.
Yeah.
But now, how many people subscribe to it? You know, when I didn't live in Alva and I lived in Missouri for a little while, we had Oklahoma Today because I just was happy to have something that was Oklahoma and I could look through and know the towns. But now you can just get on the internet and do that and, you know, Google them all. And so that's, yeah.
Okay. What, got questions, because you're the budget girl?
Well, I just am curious about the first quarter invoice. So you have that right now. I don't know if it's entered. Do you want to hold off on that until we get through the amended?
I don't know that I've got it.
Yeah. It's hard to tell.
Is that gonna negatively affect your cash flow?
Possibly doing the 67 and not getting the 12,000. Like writing you a check. for
That whole
67
amount
and
is-
not receiving 12,000.
Yeah.
It will.
I don't,
we don't need to, it's just like Ghostbusters coming across the streams. So,
So just hold off
So-
on it.
well, I'd say
I don't wanna have to
we-
write it.
We won't
need
touch
to-
that
but-
money.
So my point is we're talking about 2 different fiscal years. We need to pay the full invoice amount. And then, since that 67 and change was left over from last year, that needs to be a check coming back to us so it can go into fund balance. Because like I said, they're 2 different fiscal years. And if we cross those streams, she's gonna get gray hair, like me.
Right, so
Well,
that
or
one
not
that's
that, but-
taken past, don't mess with it, just leave it. Because it's for the new fiscal year, it's for the new MOU.
Yeah,
So,
but we still.
yeah, I don't wanna do anything with that yet, I don't wanna receive it yet. Does that make sense?
The new invoice.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That would be that crossing the stream.
No, it would. We owe you that money for this FY.
Right.
True.
Because it was already
It
approved
was
in
already
the
approved.
budget.
It was already approved
Allocated.
by the budget and allocated by city council, that was what was being put towards the tourism. And then that's just your share that we cut directly to you. But I guess you guys can reallocate, and then if for some reason there's excess funds that we're not agreeable to what you're wanting to spend, then you again would cut us another check for the leftover. But because it was approved, I mean, by law, it was an approved budget by city council.
So, so you guys, can you have something by the next time we meet? Maybe not. Jody's like, oh no, well,
We're gonna have to, we gotta regroup and see where we're headed. We do have car show next month, so we're gonna be
And
hitting
the
that
next
hard.
meeting would be September 18th.
Yeah.
And so, community coffee's the day after that, and then car show's big, so we'll have to see,
We won't have our next board meeting until, chamber until.
yeah, the 12/10.
9th.
We need to get something rolling though, because our budget's coming up. So
Yeah.
So you might
we'll get
maybe have a
something.
special thing.
Hopefully we'll be here next.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, we really, we really want to work with you guys. And, I mean, I think I speak for everyone. You know, we really want to work with you guys. This tax helps everyone. And, you know, the events that you're talking about are fantastic ideas. We really appreciate your hard work. I mean, really, really. And so, and I think, you know, change and challenge, nobody likes it, but it does make everyone better. I mean, a lot of times when you come out on the end, it's really good stuff. So, anyway, but I appreciate you guys so much.
Oh, I do too. I mean, you guys-
Tricia, I mean, Jody, Megan, I appreciate you guys so much because I think you're really working hard and trying to do some new things, and it's just really positive. So, anyway, thank you guys.
Okay, well, thank you, and we do like that open communication. If there is something you guys can relay outside of this party, we do want to hear it.
Yeah.
And work towards making everybody happy.
So, all right. Well, thank you, girls. We appreciate you. We'll see you September 18th, or someone. So, okay. All right. Number 6, discussion regarding City of Alva Tourism and Convention Development Committee event sponsorship rules. So we visited, kicked around some things, and Steve made a list of the feedback that he received from everyone.
I just got some more feedback so I can do from Terry.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's not on that
It's
list.
okay.
Okay.
Some of it is.
Huh?
Some of it is,
Is it?
but it's okay.
I've got her email pulled up if you want to see what
Also, we
she
can
said.
add it to the list here.
Yeah,
Well,
she,
I can't right now.
I printed this off from the agenda that was sent yesterday.
That's what I did.
This is
Or
what Terry
Monday,
sent me
whenever
today.
that came. So, what's the other things? Any advertising?
That's the last one.
That's the last one.
Yeah.
Second one's just what I was talking about. You mentioned not piggyback on other events, because if there's already people coming, we want a new, I mean, if we're funding it, obviously people can piggyback on other events, but if we're funding it, they're asking for funding from us. I mean, I think it would be a good idea, and it won't always work out that way, but, you know, we're funding the car show, and then somebody comes in and they want $10,000 to run an event for the car show, so they're gonna.
Yeah.
fill it.
Yeah, no,
You see what I'm
yeah,
saying?
They're
That's
not
kind
gonna
of-
fill it because the car show came to us
Yes.
first, they're,
Yeah.
you know,
Yes.
you want
want the event to be able to stand on its
Oh,
own.
right.
Yes,
Yes.
and bring
And
more
that makes
people in.
total
We want it to
sense.
bring people
Yeah.
in,
Yeah,
but,
That makes total sense.
okay.
yeah. And I totally agree with number 1 and number 4 on your list. That needs the funds received or something. It needs a disclaimer on the advertising
Yeah.
and the flyers that go out and the Facebook and all that. That it came from
Where,
Either
we need recognition.
tourism and convention sponsorship
Yeah.
or
Yes.
Yeah.
that it's coming from the hotels. I mean, I think either one of those is appropriate, so.
One thought I had that I wasn't really sure how to articulate was, and maybe puts more work on us, is determining some metrics that we want them to track, like number of attendee, like us having
Like Nescatunga did.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Set
Yes,
They
they had
had
a lot of
really great
information.
information.
that
Yes.
we need them to collect.
We
Yes.
talked about them doing that.
Yeah.
And
The problem is, like with car show, you're gonna have a hard time tracking how many people were there.
But you
Unless
can
you go
tell how
buy
many
a pla-
cars have registered.
They can do
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
but unless you go buy a Placer AI subscription,
Yeah.
you're not gonna know how many people were actually there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there's thousands of people downtown
Yeah.
that day, so.
But if there's
Sure.
like some type of a
Car registrations or
registration, they're on the registration, it
Like
says
I brought
that
in
you stay
100
overnight.
registrations, and then you know for sure that there's at least probably 2 people a car to that almost, you know?
Yeah.
Heck, any kind of information like that's better than none.
Yeah.
Yes, obviously, you're not gonna be, unless you actually have ticketing,
Yeah.
you're not gonna.
But if you have,
people
like I
show
said, if
up.
they have to fill out something, maybe just have a couple little lines on there.
Yeah,
Right?
because they-
Where it's voluntary.
That was my suggestion
Yeah, oh.
on the flyers and advertisements, so that was number 1 and
Yes.
number 4 of yours, so
Okay.
that was. So, anyway,
And the other one I had on there was, if they don't use the money for what they say they're gonna use it for, because that has happened in the past. And
Yeah.
I don't know what we can do about that, but,
Well, on the current,
I mean, they got the money for something and then they,
I'm just
use it
going
for
off of
something
experience from being at the city. There were times when if it didn't meet like the chamber's criteria, like on the form, they
so
say
you
they're
mark it
gonna,
off.
Yeah.
yeah, she would
Mark
mark
it off, and
she
that's
would
what
mark it
they'll
off.
need to be doing.
and
Okay.
we wouldn't fund it.
okay.
So,
Like they asked for 9,000 for advertising, but then they don't have $9,000 worth of advertisement receipts. They only had 1,500, well
They
then
only
you're only
got-
getting 1,500 in the
Yeah.
advertisement line, and then all of a sudden you're not meeting up the total that you're
yeah,
requesting.
she would take the application
Okay.
and mark
Okay,
the line out.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
so
She would just-
basically, like,
okay.
so that
Okay.
was, and then she would include it.
Because I do
in the
agree with
total.
that, if you ask for an X amount for this, this, and this, that's all you're getting for that, that, and that.
Yes,
And
I agree.
And
you know,
it's
'cause that's what
spent
you-
on that.
Yeah, because that's what you came and presented to the board, or, you know, that's what you're using it for,
Yeah.
and that's what you should use it for.
Yeah. So I mean, I would like to see us develop a statement or a logo or something that's easy for those people to put on to their
Just a-
flyer,
yeah.
their advertisement. You know, it's in a JPEG format, so all they have to do is just take it and put it on there, and, you know, the graphic designer or whoever's doing that for them, that is acceptable to our tourism commission here, that we, you know, we were like, yes, that's what we want it to say every single time, because then people will start catching on.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
You know,
That's a good
like,
idea.
And we can be like, and then the chamber can email it to them, like, here, this is what you need to use for your publications
Yeah.
to give credit.
Well, I
And-
thought the tourism committee, I think initially, like, Terry, you'll probably, or Melanie, you both may know, we did like tourism money was spent to develop like branding for tourism specifically, I thought.
I think it was more spent to
Was it
develop.
just for the city?
For the
Alva,
city,
yeah.
or was it
It's not
Alva?
really a logo.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just think
it was, I mean, I'm like,
Is
not.
anybody good with
Not
that?
me.
Like, I can't design.
well, I could work on
I'm
something.
looking right now.
So,
Do you want to try and work on something then? or-
I mean, I will,
Okay.
yeah, I'll try.
I'm not good with it, so I'm not even gonna offer.
I'll try to work on something. And I mean, I'm good enough with graphic design to be dangerous, so that's,
There you go.
you know, that's, anyway, I'll bring you guys a couple of things and maybe next time we can discuss and what we want that to be. But yeah, something easy that every time that we approve one of these, that, you know, they get an email from the chamber that says, you've been, you know, approved for this amount, for this, 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 and this. And you also need to add this logo to the, so it's all there for them, so that it's easy for them to know. I think that's really professional.
I also have a question. It says, provide our action after action report within 30 to 60 days of the event. I love that, and I think it's important. So, but what is the penalty if they don't do it? What if they don't come back to us and if they've already turned in their receipts, they've already been reimbursed, so then we need to track that and be like, well, then we're not funding you next time.
Yeah.
Because I feel like then they didn't hold up their end of the bargain.
You don't do
Right.
this, you are,
So we,
yeah, you
somehow,
will
it's like a
not be
board
funded.
or the chamber need
Yeah.
to track that and be like, no, we're not gonna hear you and we're not gonna put you on the agenda because you didn't hold up your end of the bargain
Unless
with
they
us.
fail that year, they're
Yeah.
gonna come back
They're
next
gonna
year.
come back.
They're
Yeah.
gonna try to do this every
Yeah.
year, so.
And
you
hope
set
that
those-
either we forget or the new board would forget, but I do think it's important to track that because if we put a stipulation, they
But
need to be held accountable.
like the
for
report that
funds.
Nescatonga brought us
Yeah.
was fantastic.
And they did it within 30 days.
And they did it
too.
within 30 days. It was really good. And so I think that
I think 60 days is even being nice. That's,
Yes.
you
you
should
have
be
2
able
meetings to come
to get it on there.
Yes. And if we don't meet in a month, like if there's no
Yeah.
applications, if we didn't have the Alva Chamber thing this month, we might not have met.
Yeah.
But
But then that's on us, not on them.
yes, and
we
you get
know
an
that,
extension
but-
to come the next time.
But that just gives them more time to prepare, so they really could still meet that 60-day mark
Yeah.
though. So,
Well, they could have it emailed in to us
Yeah.
by then, even if we don't have a meeting. So, but yeah, I really like that. And I also think that it's great publicity for them. Marion's here with us every time, and she does
Yeah.
such a great job. And they get to talk about their event when they apply, and then they get to talk about it again
after all great
after-
things happen.
after they have done it, and people can hear about it 2 times and then see what great benefit it brought to the community.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Marion. We really appreciate you too. So, anyway, okay, and then,
I'll get Terry's stuff added to that list,
okay,
and we can socialize it, and then anything else you can think of that needs to be on there, such as like the penalty for the
Or
for
not presenting or,
the AAR. Shoot me a note, we'll add that on too.
Okay.
can we talk about the funding, the percentage just really quick? I know you guys are probably ready to get out
That
of here.
wasn't even on there, was it? Did I miss that?
It
no, it
says-
was, no, it's the first
it's
one.
the first
She just wants to
It's
talk
the first
about it.
thing.
Okay. Sorry.
I think that existing events, that's a fair number, but if it's a brand new event, is that a fair number? So,
I think it
I'm
needs to
not
be
dog fight.
standard.
I agree with that.
I think it needs to be standard
Yeah,
across the board,
standard.
because how can you justify that this new event's better than any of our old events, or this 2 new events, one's better than the other, and we gave X amount 60, X amount 45, or X amount, I just think it needs to be standard.
Are we gonna have something in there to account for costs increasing each year? Because I spoke with Orville about this.
yeah.
And
Well, I think
that
that's
was one of his concerns, is sometimes this stuff, it goes up, and that's not
No.
really our problem.
Right.
But if they come back and say, well, we can't do this again this year without another $1,000, and it's gonna push them over their 45, well, we just tell them, sorry, it's 45% and that's it.
Well, they should have that,
They should.
showing that everything increased in cost on the form that they send us.
Right. But if they know this is a hard and fast rule in advance, it causes them to go do more fundraising on
Or
their own.
shop around for better deals.
Yeah, do better job.
Yeah. So,
Because yes, their costs are going up, but our costs are going up, and it's just.
Well, and it's a percentage.
It
It's not
is.
like we're only gonna give you $10,000. It's
Yeah,
not that.
it's
It's a percentage of the
It
cost of
cannot
the event.
exceed 45%.
Good point.
Didn't
think about it that way.
Yeah.
So,
So if his
Your-
costs go up, it's 45% of
It's still
whatever his
45% of
cost
that.
is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, if your event is a $100,000 event, it's 45,000. If it's
Yeah.
a $200,000 event, it's 90,000. I mean, we don't have that much money, but I'm
Right,
just saying,
no,
the
yeah.
math is the same. And so that's, and we figured that kind of figured that out based on the percentage that we were funding
yeah,
And
I went
what
back through all
all
the
the
applications for that
last
last year.
couple of
Yeah.
years
I
or
think-
whatever, and that
I
was,
think the car show was the highest, it was like 40.
no, Nescatonga.
Nescatonga was the
Well,
highest.
Because that's like 80%,
Besides that one.
85% funded.
But
But yeah, car show, I think last year was roughly 47%, I think.
That was 43.
I think it was 47. I may be wrong. I've got it all.
But it just makes them, like you said, fundraise more and kind of try to get better deals and maybe negotiate with some of your vendors that, that
So, and I mean, it's a ratio. As the event cost goes up, it should go up.
Right, yeah.
Too.
So it
I mean,
should-
that's,
It should.
you know.
cover
This would also,
itself.
and this, having this set percentage would allow us to be able to hopefully fund new
New
events.
Well, and, I mean, these are our sponsorship rules, and there's nothing that says we can't try it for a year and then
Yeah, and if it doesn't
tweak
work
it.
next year, we go,
You know, like, 60 days was not enough time to get people to give us
Yeah.
their, information back. We need 90 days or
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
So, this isn't, we're not making these rules forever.
Yeah.
We're just making them to help us get started. And I really do believe this is a starting point, because I think there'll be some things that we want to change.
yeah, we'll,
So-
as we get into it and actually weed through it all, we're gonna
Yeah.
see things we can do better.
Well, we're just trying to kind of streamline a little
Yeah.
bit and,
Yeah.
not have all these random things out there.
Yeah.
So, the food truck vendors, is that an issue, Steve?
It is.
Okay,
The whole reason we created the food truck permit is so that it would force food truck vendors to come to City Hall, get a permit. I mean, it's a nominal fee for an entire year, but it gives me their tax number. And then when we have an event, if I have a list of vendors, I can send that list of tax numbers to OTC, and they will tell me where they remitted their sales tax that weekend.
okay,
So if somebody comes from Tuttle, sells pizzas all weekend long, goes back to Tuttle, runs their register tape Sunday night, and remits their sales tax in Tuttle,
Now Tuttle's getting the benefit, but
Tuttle's
we're
gonna
not.
move it, we're not.
okay.
So that's why that's important that I have a list of all the vendors. And then
I
can take
100% agree with that.
Well, and to
That's
me
like,
too, when
yeah.
you're doing that, they chose you at the food trucks and not eating at the brick and mortars that actually do their sales
Right.
tax here, so it's important that they're, that they're here in Alva, that they're doing like any other restaurant business is doing, just like, they.
So that's the whole purpose of creating that ordinance and creating that permit.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, that's really,
Yeah.
that's
I mean,
important.
and it does,
Mhm.
depending on how many food trucks, it can hurt the brick and mortars.
Mhm.
Well, and just the sales tax that we
Yeah,
are owed.
the
as a
sales
city
tax.
It needs to
for
come
letting
in,
them
you
come
were
here
here
and make money.
operating, you were here
Yeah.
operating.
Uh-huh. That's-
Yeah, I used to
For
wonder
most, I
about
think
that
everybody's
sometimes.
honest about it, and they do
Like,
admit,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there's gonna be one or two every now and then.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so, okay. So do we want to kind of try to formalize these and maybe vote on them next time? I feel like we're not quite there yet.
Because we may have other thoughts, I guess, that
Yeah.
come up in the
Yeah.
next
I'll-
one, now that we've
I'll-
all talked,
I'll
We'll
put
put
it-
it on the agenda one more time.
One more time,
Yeah.
and then next time,
we'll vote on it.
yeah. You and I can visit Steve maybe about it, kind of formalizing it before the next time,
Sure.
and then we can send it out to everyone,
Okay.
and so that, with our agenda, and then we all know what we're voting on, and so. Anyway, anything else that you would like to put on this list? Anyone?
Not yet. I'm
If
sure I'll have
you
some thoughts.
come something, just send it directly to me, whatever you do not reply to all.
Yeah.
So we don't violate the Open Meeting Act.
Yeah, everybody's been really good about that.
Yeah, they have, but send it to me and I'll add it to the list and I'll shotgun the list back out, just like I did last time.
Okay, awesome. And I think, when the mayor started talking to us about this last spring, I think this is the kind of thing that he wanted us to develop. I feel like we're hitting the mark with that. So, okay, well, reports from staff.
So we had a pretty interesting city council meeting 2 days ago. Passed a lot of good things. Locust Street will finally get done. Praise God.
Yes.
I mean, I'm so tired. I'll never hear the word Locust Street again in my life. So that got passed. I think it'll get all the curbing on 700 and the remaining south side of 800 will be done. It'll be formed up Saturday. They'll come back next Saturday and pour it. And so the curb and gutter will be done. Then we'll self-perform laying asphalt on both those blocks and get that nightmare over.
I'm excited about that.
Yeah, we did.
They deserve.
We voted to hire a retail recruitment consultant, what do you want to call them, to try to help bring some more economic development to town.
They might also be able to give us some of that data too that we're wanting.
They might be able to pull some Placer AI data,
Yeah,
but they got to be real careful about that because
yeah,
they got to be careful about selling Placer AI data.
yeah.
So it's kind of a weird deal, but maybe they'll just give it to us for free if we ask them. But so that's going to be a big deal. I think it'll help. I hope. What else big did we do? Approved an FAA grant to help fix the taxiway out at the airport, which is gonna be good, it'll be nice, and put new lights out there. We passed the privatization of the sanitation department. No idea when that's gonna happen. I just got the franchise agreement today, got to run it by Drew. And then they've got to order trucks, containers, dumpsters, and so it's all kind of a waiting game now as far as, they'll get the containers and dumpsters in early. It's when can they get their hands on a new truck? Because those things are hard to come by. So that'll be the waiting game, and that'll determine when they actually do the switch over. I think that was about all the big ticket items. So some pretty lengthy discussions, and it was good. So.
Any remarks or inquiries from the committee? Well, Joe, you're the only citizen here. Well, Marion is too, but she's here for a different purpose. So do you have comments?
I will tell you that the community / economic development specialists that we did hire, I had a lengthy conversation about using their software and their talents for helping the tourism identify what is truly tourism, and they have the software to be able to do that. So I think that's definitely something that will help being able to track where people come from. You can outline on the software a certain date and time, and it'll tell you where people come from, states. It's all based off cell phone data, and so I think at least your top 5 events that you're funding, we should look into doing that to make sure that it truly is bringing people in from outside of Alva.
Interesting. Awesome. Okay, well, thank you for that. That's interesting.
The technology is insane.
Yes, it is.
It's scary.
It's a little Big Brother.
Yes.
Yes, so like, it's a little bit Big Brother, but I mean, I know there's all kinds of marketing products out there that you can do where you can, use IP addresses to, target people with messages, not target them actually, but, so, but it's crazy how they can do that, so, anyway, and the patterns that they can develop out of that, it's just amazing, so, anyway, but thank you for that information. So, okay, if there's nothing else, then we can adjourn. Do we need a motion to adjourn?
No.
Okay, no motion to adjourn.